Leinster will kick off their own Heineken Champions Cup defence this weekend. A big game in its own right, of course. Key to it, Murray, the centre partnership. We want to kind of delve into that a little bit and maybe make some wild and premature comparisons between Robbie Henshaw and Ringrose on that axis, and a famous one for Ireland in the past. What are your thoughts on them as a partnership? Rather?
Yeah, I really like this partnership. I think it's been, both for Ireland and Leinster, one of the most exciting developments in the last couple of years. Obviously in 2017 they played together for Ireland for the entire Six Nations. Last year, because of injury, they didn't actually get to play together, and Ireland still won a Grand Slam. Bundy Aki was kind of the main glue, and I guess he's got a big ambition in that 12 jersey as well going forward. I think just for Leinster, they're so integral to everything they do now. Obviously the focus tends to be on Johnny Sexton, but these two guys make life very easy for him. Two really intelligent players, particularly in defence. I mean, we mentioned that Henshaw moment earlier on, just that little read off. There was another big hit on Niall Scannell just coming off a maul. Munster were kind of threatening the try line. Scannell breaks away. He's 2 or 3 metres out, and I don't think many centres would have actually stopped him there. Hits high on the ball, doesn't chop him low, which is really intelligent in that zone. And even with John Klein latching on, he still has the strength to kind of wrestle him off to the side. He's constantly making big impacts like that in defence, as well as making those good reads. I think Ringrose as well, similarly. I don't know if there's a better defender on the drift in Ireland than him. When your number's down, he's the absolutely perfect guy, because he's so intelligent in easing off at the right time, staying connected to the two guys either side of him, which is so important. Even if they're almost getting disconnected, he's adapting to their movement and then going at the right time and making that tackle. Talking to him recently, I think he's still working on, when he gets those reads and shoots out of the line himself, just sticking that tackle in behind. Tends to slip off a couple of them, and he's saying it's about his footwork when he gets in behind the line, actually finishing it out rather than the contact. Is just getting closer to the tackle. So if he adds that, he's pretty much a complete defender. Attacking wise, like, Robbie Henshaw looks like he enjoys playing 13 more than 12, and probably had a good future at fullback until things changed under Joe Schmidt. But he's brilliant in that channel. His footwork is so good. Like, even against Munster, he beat 4 defenders, even though he's carrying in dense traffic every time. Ringrose as well, with that kind of gliding running style. We saw it against Connacht for that try. It's just a pleasure to watch, and his vision is superb. We've talked about it last week, his development as a kind of second playmaker as well, stepping in at first receiver when Sexton's out of action or on the other side of the pitch. So I think they're bringing all those elements. Like you mentioned, Ireland's greatest centre pairing, O'Driscoll and Darcy, that's the standard, isn't it? And I guess those guys, if you look at what they brought, they had all those things. They probably had a bit more breakdown competition. But I can see, like, Ringrose is 23, Henshaw's 25. There's a lot of growth left in their game, and I can see them pushing on to that level. Like, they've helped win a Grand Slam, they've Champions Cup. Obviously Henshaw missed that Pro 14 final, but just as a pairing as well, I think the understanding is really developing nicely, and I think it makes life easier for a 10 especially, doesn't it, Andy?
Yeah, well, for everyone, for their back rowers, for any of their forward pack who, like most forwards, want to come up out of a breakdown and ideally be running an arc, sideways to forwards, and those guys are doing that for them on regular occasions. Henshaw seems to be doing it more kind of route one. Certainly when he's playing within the Irish setup, there's a lot of initial contact and leg drive and getting over the gain line that way. He has been deployed slightly differently by Lancaster as a 12 when he's played as a 12, versus how he plays with Ireland. He was very effectively used by Schmidt as a battering ram, and he did it really well. He was used more as a distributor at 12 by Lancaster, and again, that shows his flexibility. He's very malleable. Is that a word? I'm trying to think. The coach can mould whatever that word is.
Malleable, spot on.
Yeah, word of the day, toilet roll word of the day. I think as a coach, though, it would be a joy to work with him, because if you ask him to stick it under his jumper and run through a brick wall, I would suspect he'll just go, absolutely, boss, and I'll do it all day for you. If you ask him to distribute off his left hand 20 yards on the run, fix his opposition defender, he'll do that too. And I think Ringrose of the two is probably the more, dare I say it, like innately talented. He's probably a little bit faster across the ground. He's a bit more elusive. He's not as chunky, but he's no less courage. And he's very, very physical, Ringrose. But I in terms of comparisons with Darcy and O'Driscoll, the one thing that's probably if down the list in terms of what's celebrated about Brian and Gordon was just their toughness. They were just so mentally tough, so physically tough. But like Brian had a cervical neck fusion and came back and played. Gordon Darcy had probably a career-threatening arm break. I think multiple surgeries. Looked like he was going to have to retire. Came back and was stronger and more resilient than ever. And when I saw Henshaw take the shoulder injury against Italy last year, my initial thought was that, okay, how's he going to... That's the first big knock for him, really, at the highest level. How do you bounce back from that? And he actually came back as like the bionic man. He had he had a full shoulder reconstruction, and he was back in 11 weeks, which again, the standardised recovery for that's about 4 months, 5 months. He was back in 11 weeks. He started the Heineken quarters against, was it Scarlets?
Against Sarries.
Sarries. Whatever game he returned into, I've never seen a better return from long-term injury. He was just on the money from the kickoff for 75, 76 minutes. Hugely physical. He lost no fitness apparently. I don't know how the hell he did that, because he's really difficult to replicate, on-field fitness because the intensity. But then again, that's testament to Lancaster's training methods as well, because they apparently train with huge intensity. But yeah, his response to a tough injury as a rugby player, a shoulder reconstruction, 11 weeks, bionic man stuff, a return where he didn't just ease his way back in. He was, he put in a hit after about 3 minutes that was shuddering. I think Sexton spoke at length after that game about Henshaw. He just couldn't get over his contribution. So I think Ringrose has that in him. He's got that kind of deep-rooted, deep-willed, strong-headedness. Just the two of them have that. That's the biggest compliment, I think, that I could pay them in relation to Darcy and O'Driscoll. They seem to be matching their resilience.
Yeah, and like you mentioned there, Henshaw being able to play a different role for Leinster than Ireland, and at times you see him carrying so hard and you go, okay, this is the track he's gone down and that's him now. But I think for both them, they keep adding little strings to their bow. Like Ringrose's grubber kicking game the last year or so, just brilliant. Like he's given them another kicking option with that little grubber usually down the right hand touchline, just easing a bit of pressure and changing the shape of the game for the opposition backfield as well. And as you say, Henshaw's added in that passing game as well. And I guess you fear when someone goes into that very direct role that those sides of the game kind of dull off. But the two of them are continuing to progress unbelievably. And I think the similarity as well is just how good a teammate both the players are. Like they're the guys you want beside you, because they're going to make a good read. They're not going to leave you in a bad position with a really selfish decision. They're going to make life easier for you with understanding, with communication, off the ball kind of movement and that work rate in defence. So yeah, I think it's unbelievably exciting that they're 23 and 25 still, and they've already achieved so much. And they're massive drivers for this Leinster team. I can't really think of a better centre pairing in the Champions Cup this season. And I think they're going to be massively important if Leinster are going to defend that title. Those two guys are going to be forefront of it, yeah.